Average isn't harmless. It's the slow death of potential. Most people never make it because they get comfortable with doing the bare minimum. They think being average is okay, but deep down, they feel stuck, frustrated, and lost. They keep repeating the same habits, having the same thoughts, living the same days, and calling it a life. But the truth is, nothing will change until you do. If you keep waiting, you'll keep wasting time, and time doesn't come back. This video is not about motivation for a few minutes. It's about the truth most people avoid. If you've ever felt like you're capable of more, but you're not showing up for yourself, this is for you. If you're done settling, done shrinking, done wasting your days, then this message will hit home. Because average has a cost, and that cost is your future. Now's the time to take it back. Number one, face the truth that average is a silent killer. That's the line most people ignore their entire life. See, most people don't sit down and say, I want to live an average life. Nobody says that. But if you look at their daily actions, their routines, their level of urgency, it's all built on average decisions. And average decisions, when stacked over weeks, months, and years, lead to an average life. That's the truth. And if you don't face it, you'll pay for it later. Not all at once, but slowly, in ways that hurt more than you expect. You know what's dangerous? It's not failure. It's not rejection. It's not even struggle. What's dangerous is staying in the middle. Not high enough to be proud, not low enough to panic. Just floating through the motions, doing just enough, hoping something changes while you keep doing the same things. Average doesn't wake you up, it keeps you comfortable. It lulls you to sleep. It's quiet. It doesn't make noise. It never raises its voice. That's why it's so dangerous. You don't even know it's killing your potential until years have gone by. You look back and you see all the things you could have done. You see the time you wasted. You remember all the ideas you had but never started. You remember the energy you once had, but now it's not there. That's the cost. That's the price of average. Average doesn't mean lazy. Some people work hard every day, but they've accepted average. They go to work, they come home, they scroll on their phone, they wait for the weekend. They follow the same loop every week. That's average. That's settling. That's giving up your edge. The world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards growth, results, progress. You can't just work hard. You have to grow. You have to challenge yourself. You have to build something real. Now, why don't most people make it? Why do most people stay stuck in average? Because average feels safe. It feels familiar. It doesn't ask too much of you. It doesn't ask you to stretch. It doesn't demand courage. Success does. Greatness does. To grow, you have to risk being uncomfortable. You have to do things that scare you. You have to have hard conversations. You have to get up earlier than you want. You have to say no to things that everyone else says yes to. And that's hard. So people settle. They choose the middle. They choose average. But here's what most people don't understand. Average has a cost. And it's not just money. It's your confidence. It's your energy. It's your self-respect. When you know deep down you could be doing more, but you don't, it eats at you. You don't need anyone to criticize you. Your own mind starts doing it. You wake up feeling behind. You look in the mirror and feel like you're losing a piece of yourself. That's how it starts. Quietly, silently. It's a slow breakdown. That's why I say average is a silent killer. You want to know what keeps people average? Excuses. It's not the right time. I'm too tired. I don't know where to start. I'm not lucky like them. All of that is noise. All of that is a defense, a way to justify staying the same. But here's the truth. Excuses don't protect you. They don't help you. They don't give you comfort. They give you regret. Maybe not today, Maybe not tomorrow, but one day they will. And by the time they do, you won't be able to get those years back. An average doesn't just show up in your career. It shows up in your relationships, your health, your thinking. It shows up in how you talk to yourself, how you treat your body, how you spend your time. Average is a pattern. It's not just one thing you do. It becomes how you live. You start settling in one area and it spreads to the others. Pretty soon your standards drop in everything. That's how it works. And people will defend it. They'll say, well, I'm doing okay. But is okay the goal? Is just fine what you're aiming for? Is waking up tired, doing what you have to, and going to bed with no fire in your chest what you really want? Because that's what average gives you. And if that doesn't bother you, then you've already paid the price. You've accepted less than what you're capable of. Look around. Most people don't make it. Not because they aren't smart, not because they aren't talented, but because they never made the decision to rise above average. They wait for things to happen. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait to feel ready. But success doesn't wait. Time doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. It rewards those who move, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient. You have to get to a point where average feels disgusting, where doing the bare minimum makes you sick to your stomach. That's when change starts. When you finally say, this is not who I want to be. Not in some dramatic moment, but in real life, quietly. You decide, you take ownership, you stop blaming, and you start doing. Because no one's going to come save you. No one's going to pull you out of that average life. People might support you, they might cheer you on, but the work, the hard choices, that's on you. That's on your shoulders. And you know what? That's a good thing. Because if it's on you, then it means you have power. You can change things. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need 100 steps. You need to start with one hard choice, one better habit, one clear decision that you are not going to live like this anymore, that you are done settling, done wasting, done explaining, that you're going to raise your standards and build a life that reflects the strength you've been hiding. Because underneath all that average is a person who wants more, a person who once had dreams, a person who still does. But those dreams won't come to life through hope. They come through action. They come through sacrifice. They come through waking up early, pushing past your comfort zone, staying focused, learning skills, saying no, and doing it again and again, even when it's hard. And it will be hard. That's the truth. But hard is not the enemy. Easy is. Easy is where most people live. And easy doesn't give you pride. It doesn't give you freedom. It doesn't build anything that lasts. You get one shot at this life. One. And if you don't get serious about it, you'll end up with a life full of I could have and I should have. That's not how you want to feel when you look back. You want to know that you gave it your all, that you didn't play it safe, that you didn't shrink yourself to fit into an average life. So ask yourself, are you proud of the effort you're giving right now? Are you doing everything you can with the time you have? Are you growing, learning, building, or are you just coasting? Because if you're coasting, you're not just standing still, you're sliding backward. Life keeps moving, and if you don't keep moving with it, you get left behind. Average won't announce itself, it creeps in. It shows up when you start saying, this is good enough. It shows up when you stop pushing, when you stop questioning, when you stop challenging yourself. And by the time you notice, it's already wrapped itself around your life. So stop pretending average is harmless. It's not. It steals your potential. It dulls your edge. It keeps you in cycles that never change. And you are not made for that. You were made to rise, to lead, to live full and free. But none of that happens without the decision to walk away from average. Because average is not a mistake, it's a choice. And greatness is too. Number 2, get up and stop waiting for perfect timing. There's a lie that most people quietly live by, the idea that they need to feel ready before they begin. They wait for the stars to align. They wait for the motivation to kick in. They wait for a day when they'll have more clarity, more confidence, more energy, or more support. And while they're waiting, their life continues moving forward without progress, without direction, without change. The truth is, nothing about life is waiting for you. Time isn't going to slow down. Opportunities aren't going to stay on pause. The people who move ahead are not the ones with perfect timing. They're the ones who stop depending on timing altogether. They stop asking, is this the right moment? And instead say, this is the moment I'm choosing. Most people want to feel comfortable before they act. But real growth never waits for comfort. You don't become strong by sitting still. You don't become skilled by overthinking. You don't build confidence by hiding behind your fear. You build it by doing something, anything that pulls you out of the cycle you're stuck in. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to move. You start building routines around hesitation. You create habits based on avoidance. You wake up each day a little more distant from the person you wanted to be. You make excuses sound reasonable. You convince yourself it's smart to delay. And deep down, you know you're not being honest with yourself. You weren't meant to wait. You weren't built to delay your own growth. You were meant to respond, to act, to rise. Even when it feels messy, even when the path isn't clear, that's how people change. Not by waiting for the right time, but by deciding the right time is now, even when it's inconvenient. The uncomfortable truth is that perfect timing doesn't exist. There's always going to be something going on. There's always going to be a reason to put it off. The people who succeed don't have easier lives. They just stop negotiating with excuses. They don't argue with fear. They don't sit around needing certainty. They take what they have and they build with it. You don't need more time. You need more action. You need to look at your life and ask, what am I putting off that I could be doing right now? What am I pretending I'm not ready for? Because the gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with choices. Not someday, not later, but right now. You will never feel completely ready. Nobody does. Even the most prepared people have doubts. They just don't let those doubts stop them. They feel fear and they move anyway. They feel unsure and they try anyway. You grow your belief by acting, not waiting. Every step you take is a vote for the future you want. Every action you avoid is a delay that comes with a cost. Waiting feels safe. It gives you a sense of control. But what it really does is slowly take away your power. The more you wait, the more power you hand over to fear, to doubt, to delay. The more you act, the more power you take back. You stop being a watcher and you become a doer. That changes everything. People will spend months, years, sometimes decades planning things they never start. They talk about what they want, they write about it, they think about it, but they never begin. They're afraid of starting wrong. But what they miss is this: starting wrong is still better than not starting, because you learn, you adjust, you build experience, you gain clarity. But none of that happens if you stay stuck at the starting line. Progress isn't made by the perfect plan, it's made by momentum. And momentum begins when you decide to do something now, not when it's easy, not when everything makes sense, but right now, with whatever you have. The reason so many people stay stuck is because they overvalue preparation and undervalue action. Preparation matters, but not as much as doing. Not as much as execution. Planning is only useful when it leads to real steps. Without movement, it becomes a trap, a way to feel productive without actually changing anything. Your future will not be built on the days you felt ready. It will be built on the days you acted anyway, the days you got out of bed when you didn't feel like it, the days you made the call, took the risk, showed up for yourself. That's where your strength comes from repetition, from presence, from discipline. Stop telling yourself you need more clarity, you need more courage. Clarity comes from experience, not before it. You figure things out as you go, not before you start. The world doesn't open its doors for the most prepared. It opens for the ones who knock and don't stop knocking. There is no perfect path. Every path comes with fear, doubt, mistakes, and lessons. You either go through them or run from them. But you can't avoid them. Everyone you admire, everyone who built something real, they started without knowing how it would end. They moved when it was uncertain. They took messy steps. They figured it out while doing it. You're not behind. You're just hesitating. You're not lost. You're just afraid to begin. But once you start, everything begins to change. You begin to see progress. You begin to see your ability grow. You begin to believe you're capable of more. You'll never feel completely ready. That's the point. If you wait until you're confident, you'll never move. Confidence is the reward of action, not the requirement. You earn it by doing the things you used to avoid. You earn it by facing resistance and pushing through. Most people will never reach their potential, not because they're not talented, not because they don't have what it takes, but because they wait. They waste years thinking the right moment is coming, and then it doesn't, because it never was. If you don't decide to start now, you train yourself to delay again tomorrow. You build the pattern of postponing your life, and you get used to it. You settle for less. And the more you settle, the harder it gets to break that cycle. So stop telling yourself you'll start when it feels right. Start now and make it feel right later. Start now and build the mindset that takes you forward. Start now and teach yourself how to win. Because nobody wins by waiting. Nobody grows by delaying. You win by moving. You grow by showing up. Do the thing you've been avoiding. Take the step you keep postponing. Write the message, make the call, apply for the job, go to the gym, launch the idea, fix the habit, cut the excuse. Do something that pushes you forward. Because that's how change happens. Not in your thoughts, but in your behavior. Waiting feels comfortable, but comfort never changed anyone. What changes you is movement. What transforms you is commitment. And commitment doesn't begin when it's easy. It begins when it's necessary. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, you'll live your life watching others build theirs. You'll clap for their success, wonder about your own, and carry the quiet weight of what you could have been. You don't have to know everything. You just need to move. Start now and figure it out while you go. That's how success is built. Not later. Not when it's easier. Not when you feel ready. Number 3, drop comfort now. If you ever want success, that's not a suggestion, that's a rule. Success doesn't come to those who stay comfortable. Comfort is where dreams quietly fade. It's where discipline weakens, urgency disappears, and ambition gets buried. You can't keep chasing ease and expect to become someone who breaks limits. Success lives on the other side of discomfort. And the sooner you stop chasing comfort, the faster you start living with purpose. Comfort is addictive. Once you get used to it, it becomes hard to imagine life without it. Your routines revolve around avoiding stress, avoiding challenge, avoiding effort. You start settling into patterns that feel safe, but slowly drain your edge. Days pass and you begin to accept less from yourself. You know you should be doing more, but comfort convinces you that later is fine, that next time is okay. But how many next times are you going to take before you realize you're stuck? Real progress never happens when everything feels good. It happens when you challenge yourself, when you demand more from yourself than you feel like giving. That's where growth starts. That's where the old version of you starts breaking down, and a stronger version begins to rise. But you won't find that version while living soft, avoiding pressure, or escaping effort. The path to success is built with pain, sweat, and choices you don't want to make. That's the truth most people avoid. People say they want to succeed, but they don't want the cost. They want the rewards without the process. They want the result without the sacrifice. That's not how it works. You can't build a strong body without breaking a sweat. You can't master a skill without struggling through the learning curve. You can't grow mentally, emotionally, or financially while holding on to your comfort zone like it's a safety blanket. Success requires pressure, not once, not sometimes, every day. You've got to train yourself to get uncomfortable, not just tolerate it, but wake up earlier than you want. Do the things you don't feel like doing. Show up even when you're not in the mood. Learn when your mind says you're tired. Take risks when fear tells you to back down. That's how you earn success. That's how you earn the right to say, I've built this. People don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they stay in patterns that don't challenge them. They avoid hard conversations. They avoid new disciplines. They avoid facing their weaknesses. And what they don't realize is avoiding discomfort becomes a lifestyle, a quiet, hidden lifestyle of mediocrity. And it doesn't feel like failure at first. It feels normal. It feels like taking a break. It feels like giving yourself space. But one day you wake up and your goals feel out of reach. Not because you lack ability, but because you trained yourself to shrink away when things got hard. You were not designed to play small. You weren't built for easy. You were given strength, discipline, and will. But none of those grow unless they're used. You grow when you're under pressure. You evolve when you push limits. If your life feels stuck right now, it's probably because you're choosing comfort more often than you're choosing growth. Comfort looks harmless, but it's expensive. It robs you of time. It steals your energy. It weakens your mind. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, comfort wins. Every time you scroll instead of act, comfort wins. Every time you choose easy instead of effort, comfort wins. And every time comfort wins, success loses. Success has requirements. It demands a different version of you. One that doesn't complain about being tired. One that doesn't ask for permission. One that doesn't stop at good enough. It requires the version of you who gets up and moves even when no one's watching. Who makes decisions based on discipline, not emotion. Who refuses to be like everyone else who just wants to get by. People think discomfort is a sign to stop, but discomfort is a signal to keep going. It means you're in the right zone, the growth zone, that space where your body wants to rest, but your purpose says keep pushing. That's where mental toughness is built. That's where your identity shifts from average to excellent. You don't get there by playing it safe. You don't get there by repeating what feels familiar. You get there by showing up when it's raining, when it's cold, when it's early, when you're tired, when it's boring, when it's inconvenient. That's where the edge is. That's what separates winners from the crowd. Not talent, not luck. Relentless effort when most people are asleep. Physically, mentally, or emotionally. The comfort zone doesn't just block success. It erases hunger. It makes you forget why you started. It numbs your desire. You stop aiming high because the pain of trying feels too heavy. But it's not heavy. What's heavy is regret. What's heavy is living years below your potential and pretending it doesn't bother you. You can lie to others, but you can't lie to yourself. Not for long. That feeling in your gut that says you could be doing more. That's your real self-talk. The version of you who's tired of settling. The version of you who's done with comfort. So drop it. Drop the need to feel good all the time. Drop the habit of avoiding discomfort. Drop the idea that you need things to be perfect to move forward. You don't. You just need to act. You just need to commit. You need to make discomfort a part of your day. Like eating. Like breathing. When it becomes normal, success becomes possible. The truth is, the people who succeed aren't fearless. They're just willing. Willing to struggle. Willing to fail. Willing to look foolish. Willing to be uncomfortable. On purpose. They trade comfort for growth every single day. It's not about being the best right away. It's about choosing what matters most over what feels good. That's what changes your life. Not one big moment, but a series of decisions where you say comfort doesn't run me, discipline does. Success begins the moment you get honest with yourself and say, I've been choosing easy. Then right after that, you make the shift. You start building the habits that stretch. You train your mind to stop chasing comfort and start chasing results. You don't ask for less pressure. You become stronger under pressure. You want a better life, then demand more from yourself. Not tomorrow, not when life slows down. Now, in this moment, success is possible, but not if you keep protecting your comfort. You have to give it up. You have to want growth more than rest. You have to want change more than ease. That's the trade. Give up comfort. Get your life back. Number 4, own your laziness before it owns your life. That's the uncomfortable truth most people never want to say out loud. But it's the truth you need if you want to stop wasting time and finally start doing something real with your life. Laziness isn't always obvious. It's not just lying on the couch or skipping a workout. It shows up in small moments. The moment you choose scrolling over reading. The moment you keep hitting snooze when you said you'd change. The moment you avoid something just because it makes you feel tired, nervous, or bored. Every time you do that, laziness grows stronger. Not overnight, but gradually, silently. And while it grows, you shrink. Your standards shrink. Your discipline shrinks. Your self-worth starts to fade because you know deep down you're avoiding the things that could make you better. You have to face the fact that if you don't call out your own laziness, it will quietly control your entire life. It'll take over your mornings. It'll take over your decisions. It'll convince you that you're just tired or not in the mood. It'll give you easy ways out, soft excuses that sound reasonable, and it'll feed you just enough comfort to keep you stuck. That's the dangerous part. Laziness doesn't feel painful in the moment. It feels relaxing. But the price you pay is always heavier later. You won't feel it right away, but over time, you'll start to notice. You'll look at your goals and realize they've been sitting in the same place for years. You'll think about who you wanted to be and feel that quiet frustration growing because you know you haven't moved. That's not bad luck. That's not lack of opportunity. That's not the world being unfair. That's your own laziness running the show while you keep pretending it's something else. Success doesn't happen by accident, and it doesn't happen while you wait to feel like it. You don't become disciplined by chance. You don't get ahead by doing what's easy. If you want to get somewhere in life, you have to be brutally honest about the ways you've been holding yourself back. Laziness doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you've built habits around avoiding responsibility. And the only way out is to take full ownership of it. No one else can fix this for you. No one is going to come into your life and force you to act. You either get up and make the change, or you keep repeating the cycle every day that you avoid effort, that you avoid responsibility, that you avoid the work. You're building a version of yourself that's weaker than you deserve to be. There's no shortcut here. You can't just think your way out of laziness. You have to act. You have to catch yourself in the moments where you're slipping. You have to hold yourself accountable before the world does it for you. Because the world isn't kind to lazy people. It doesn't reward them. It doesn't promote them. It doesn't hand them second chance. It quietly moves on and leaves them behind wondering what happened. If you don't deal with your laziness now, it will cost you more than you can imagine. It'll cost you opportunities you never even knew you missed. It'll cost you confidence. It'll cost you relationship. It'll cost you the trust you have in yourself. Because every time you say you'll do something and don't follow through, you break that trust. And if you can't trust yourself to do what needs to be done, how can you expect anyone else to? There's a certain pain that comes from being honest about your laziness. But there's also power in it. Because once you own it, you can do something about it. You're no longer hiding from it. You're no longer pretending it's not there. And that shift from avoiding to owning is what starts momentum. Start small. You don't have to fix everything at once, but you do have to start. Start by getting up earlier. Start by cutting the time you waste on things that don't build you. Start by doing the task you've been putting off. Start by following through on one commitment today, even if it's uncomfortable. That's how laziness loses its grip. Not by thinking, by acting. You've got to decide right now that your future matters more than how you feel in this moment. You've got to stop protecting your laziness with soft words like, I'll get to it later, or I just need rest. You know the difference between rest and avoidance. One gives you energy. The other drains your future. Don't confuse the two. If you want a life you're proud of, you have to become someone you can respect. That means doing the things that push you forward. Not just when it's easy, especially when it's hard. Because that's where your discipline is built. That's where your pride comes from. Doing what you said you would do, even when you didn't feel like it. You weren't made to drift. You weren't built to settle. You have more inside you, but you'll never see it if you keep letting laziness make decisions for you. You have to interrupt the pattern. Get up, move, set goals, chase them, sweat for them. Build the kind of routine that forces you to grow, not shrink. Most people don't lose to failure. They lose to their own habits, the tiny, daily choices to take it easy, push it to tomorrow, avoid discomfort, and those choices compound. One missed day turns into a missed week. One lazy hour turns into hours of mindless scrolling. One excuse turns into a lifestyle. That's how laziness wins. Slow, quiet, steady. You need to stop letting that happen. Wake up and be honest about the habits that are holding you back. You already know what they are. You know what you're avoiding. You know what you're capable of. But none of that matters if you don't act on it. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a perfect system. You need to stop lying to yourself. If something needs to be done, do it. If you said you'd improve, start. If you've been wasting time, reclaim it. If you've been putting things off, face them. That's how you take control back. And the beauty is, once you take ownership, you get stronger. You build momentum. You start trusting yourself again. You start walking taller. You speak with more confidence. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're focused on your own progress. That's what happens when you stop running from laziness and start replacing it with action. You're not powerless. You're not broken. You've just been giving too much attention to what's easy and not enough to what's necessary. That ends now. The second you stop defending your laziness and start building your discipline, everything begins to change. You don't get to live two lives. This is it. And every day you give to laziness is a day you don't get back. Don't wait until regret wakes you up. Don't wait until your back's against the wall. Do it now while you still have the time and energy to change. Because if you don't own your laziness, it will own your choice. It will own your days. And eventually, it will own your life. But the good news is, you can take it back. Right now, one decision at a time, one action at a time. No more waiting, no more hiding. Just real work, real effort, real progress, starting today. Number 5, leave normal behind and do what's uncommon. Most people live their entire life chasing what's accepted, what's familiar, what fits the crowd. They do what others are doing because it feels safe. It feels approved. It feels expected. But the truth is, the more you try to be like everyone else, the more you disappear into the noise. Normal doesn't lead to greatness. It leads to the middle, where dreams stay dreams and days pass without meaning. You weren't meant to fit in. You were meant to rise. But rising requires you to step away from what's average. You have to stop doing what's popular and start doing what's right for you. That's not easy. You'll be questioned. You'll be doubted. You'll be misunderstood. But you have to stop trying to impress people who aren't even living the life you want. Normal tells you to settle down, to do just enough, to be realistic. But being realistic is often the quickest way to forget what's possible. The uncommon path requires you to take risks. It requires you to think for yourself. It requires you to move when others sit, to speak when others stay silent, to keep going when others give up. That's the difference. You can't live an uncommon life with normal habits, but you can't break limits if you keep following routines that everyone else follows. Wake up when others sleep. Learn when others waste time. Train your body, sharpen your mind. Protect your energy. Do the things that most people refuse to do, and you'll build a life most people will never touch. People want results without the uncommon effort. They want success, but won't put themselves through the pressure it requires. But you can't skip the hard parts. The struggle is part of the path. You have to earn your progress. That means being uncomfortable on purpose. That means saying no when everyone else says yes. That means working on your mindset every day like your future depends on it. Because it does. There's a cost to being average, and there's a cost to being uncommon. The difference is, the cost of being average is regret. The cost of being uncommon is growth. One makes you weaker. The other makes you stronger. One keeps you in circles. The other pulls you forward. You choose which price to pay, but make no mistake, you're paying either way. Look around you. Most people are living in patterns they didn't even choose. They followed what was normal, and now they feel stuck. They go to jobs they don't like, spend time with people who drain them, and escape reality through distraction. That's the normal path. It looks busy on the outside, but it's empty on the inside. You've got to choose something different, something uncommon. And that doesn't mean flashy. It doesn't mean loud. It means intentional. It means living by principles. It means having standards that don't shift just because life gets hard. It means knowing what you want and refusing to be talked out of it. You can't become uncommon by accident. You have to build it. You have to want it enough to work when no one's clapping. You have to want it enough to say no to comfort. You have to want it enough to let go of the need to fit in. Because the more you try to fit in, the more you give away the pieces of yourself that made you different in the first place. Uncommon people aren't perfect, but they're intentional. They're disciplined. They don't rely on moods. They move with purpose. They show up with consistency. They make decisions based on where they want to be, not based on what feels good in the moment. If your habits look like everyone else's, your life will too. And if that thought makes you uncomfortable, good. That's your signal to change. That's your reminder that you were not built for average. You have a responsibility to rise, to lead, to go further than what your past says is possible. You can't get there by following the crowd. The crowd doesn't lead to greatness. The crowd leads to comfort, to short-term thinking, to a watered-down version of who you could be. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to stay focused. You just need to follow through. Because when it's all said and done, your life won't be judged by how well you blended in. It'll be judged by what you built, who you became, and how you lived. Most people waste years trying to be liked. Uncommon people invest their energy into being useful, being excellent, being real. They don't fake progress. They don't brag about effort. They put their heads down and they work. They get up early. They stay disciplined. They keep their word. They improve their thinking. They study what others ignore. That's what separates them. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's choice. Real, daily choices to do what's hard now, so life becomes better later. That's what this is about. Living uncommon means thinking long-term. It means training yourself to act with vision, not just emotion. It means building the strength to do what's necessary, even when it's not exciting. There's no applause for choosing the uncommon path. You won't get instant validation. Most people won't understand your discipline. They won't see your early mornings, your quiet sacrifices, your battles with self-doubt. But you'll know what it's building inside you. You'll know you're not wasting time anymore. You'll know you're moving towards something that actually matters. And when the results come, they won't be loud. They'll be powerful. You'll walk differently. You'll carry yourself with real confidence. Not the fake kind people post online. The kind that comes from doing the work, keeping your promises, and refusing to settle. There's a freedom in living uncommon. You stop competing with people. You stop explaining yourself. You stop needing to prove anything. You focus on growth. You focus on value. You become someone you respect. And that's worth more than any applause. So if you've been playing it safe, this is your wake-up call. Stop chasing normal. Stop looking for approval. Stop choosing easy. You've got one life, and the goal is not to blend in. The goal is to become the version of yourself that you'd admire. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens by doing the uncommon work that most people avoid. Start now. Make the move you've been avoiding. Build the habit you've been putting off. Do the hard thing. Do the quiet work. Stay focused when no one's watching. That's where the change begins. You want to win? Leave normal behind and never look back. Number 6. Say no to wasting time on useless habits. Every day, you're either building your future or breaking it down. There's no neutral. There's no harmless routine. The actions you repeat are either pushing you forward or pulling you back. And most people don't even realize how much of their life is being drained by habits that add no value, no growth, no meaning. They call it relaxing, but it's really escaping. They call it entertainment, but it's really distraction. They say just one more scroll, just one more episode, just 5 more minutes, and suddenly the day is gone again. Time is the one thing you never get back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can fall off your plan and still bounce back. But once the clock moves, it doesn't stop. That's why wasting it should feel personal. Every wasted hour is a piece of your life you gave away, and you won't get it back. That's not drama. That's reality. The most successful people in the world don't have more time. They just refuse to waste it. If you look at your current habits, ask yourself, where is my time really going? What's helping me become stronger, smarter, sharper? And what's just numbing me? You don't need a complicated system to fix your life. You just need honesty. Be real about what's helping you and what's hurting you. Because that Netflix binge, that endless scrolling, that gossip, that constant checking of your phone, it doesn't just cost you time. It costs you focus. It costs you energy. It costs you self-respect. You want to build a better life? Start by cutting the habits that are quietly destroying your day. Don't defend them. Don't excuse them. Don't say, I deserve this. Because what you really deserve is progress. What you deserve is peace of mind. What you deserve is momentum. And none of that comes from wasting your hours on things that do nothing for your future. You might say, I'm not ready to let go of everything. You don't have to. Start with one. Identify one useless habit and replace it. Not with another distraction, but with something that sharpens you. Read, write, move your body. Learn a skill. Have a real conversation. Take one piece of time that used to be wasted and make it count. You don't need to fix your whole life in one day. But you do need to stop pretending like your habits don't matter. They do. They shape your identity. They build your character. They determine how much of your potential gets activated. And the scary part is, the wrong habits feel comfortable. That's why people don't fight them. They don't feel dangerous. But their damage is slow, quiet, invisible, until it's too late. Look around. Most people are stuck, not because they're unlucky, but because their time is being eaten up by useless habits. They say they don't have time to grow, but they've got hours for nonsense. They say they're too tired, but their sleep schedule is wrecked from mindless routines. They say they want change, but they can't go one day without feeding the exact habits that are keeping them average. You have to be ruthless about your time, not careless, ruthless. That means protecting it. That means deciding ahead of time what matters and cutting out what doesn't. That means saying no, not because you're mean, but because you're focused. That means using your time like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. You can't expect a focused life if your habits are built on escape. You can't demand success if your days are filled with aimless behavior. You can't ask for peace if your routines are chaotic. It starts with discipline. Discipline in the small, discipline in what you click on, what you say yes to, what you allow into your space. You have more control than you think. You don't have to follow what everyone else is doing. Just because your friends waste time doesn't mean you have to. Just because social media is built to keep you hooked doesn't mean you can't shut it off. Just because the world is loud doesn't mean you can't create quiet. The uncommon life starts with uncommon choices. The productive life starts with protected time. Some of the habits you need to kill are disguised as harmless routines. Checking your phone first thing in the morning, watching shows until your brain is numb, saying I'll do it later for the 10th day in a row. These are not small problems. They are the cracks that sink the ship, and they will continue to sink your goals if you don't wake up and fix them. You can't move forward if you're weighed down by routines that drain your energy and steal your hours. If you want change, something has to go. Maybe it's a screen, maybe it's a late night habit, maybe it's people who waste your time. Whatever it is, cut it. Not to be extreme, but to be free. The clearer your life becomes, the more progress you'll see, and clarity starts with subtraction. Less noise, less clutter, less mindless consumption, more space for thinking, more room for action, more time for real movement. Most people are overwhelmed, not because they have too much to do, but because they have too many useless habits eating away at their mind. When you remove those, you unlock something powerful. Time with purpose. Time you can use to grow, to build, to create. And that's where your future is made. Not in the big dramatic moments, but in the quiet hours where most people waste time. And you choose not to. You get one life. That's not something to whisper. That's something to feel every time you pick up your phone. Every time you delay your goals. Every time you say just for a little while and lose another hour. Be aware of how easy it is to drift, and then fight against it. Build your day. Protect your energy. Say no, and mean it. You won't feel the reward right away, but you will feel something else. Control. You'll feel your mind clear up. You'll feel your focus come back. You'll feel your time stretch, your priorities sharpen, your sense of progress finally return. That's the trade. Give up what wastes your time. Get back what moves your life. And the truth is, if it's not building you, it's breaking you. So say no and never apologize for it. Say no to anything that steals your time, your energy, your attention, or your future. That's how you take your power back. That's how you win. Number 7, wake up early and fight for your future. Most people sleep through the most valuable hours of their life. They wake up just in time to get ready for a job they're not proud of, rush through the morning without a clear plan, and start their day already behind. That's not just poor time management. That's a mindset problem. Because when you sleep in, when you avoid the early hours, you're not just losing time, you're giving up control. And the people who succeed in life are the ones who take control first thing in the morning. Those early hours, they're yours. No noise, no distractions, no pressure, just you and your future. That's the time to think clearly, to move with purpose, to build habits that matter. The world isn't calling your name yet. Notifications haven't started. Expectations haven't hit you. That's when you fight for who you want to become. That's when you put in the work. No one sees, but everyone eventually respects. Most people want better results, but aren't willing to change the way they begin their day. They say they're serious about growth, but they stay in bed when the alarm goes off. They say they want to be successful, but they start their day already tired and unfocused. That's not discipline, that's delay. You can't expect to win the day if you begin it with excuses. Waking up early isn't about being extreme. It's about choosing to lead your day instead of letting it lead you. If you don't get up early with a purpose, the day will push you around. You'll get dragged into other people's plans. You'll react instead of act. You'll spend your hours fixing problems instead of building your goals. But when you rise early and take ownership, everything changes. You start the day with clarity. You start the day with intention. You create time that no one can take from you. You start stacking small wins while most people are still asleep. And those small wins compound. They shape your mindset. They shape your habits. They build momentum. And that momentum fuels everything else. You won't always feel like getting up early. That's normal. But how you feel doesn't get to decide how you live. Discipline means doing what you said you would do, especially when you don't feel like it. The discipline to rise early is a quiet victory. But it's one of the most important because it's proof that you're in control. It's proof that you're serious. And don't confuse early mornings with magic. The magic isn't in the time. It's in what you do with it. Anyone can wake up early and waste it. But if you use those hours wisely, if you use them to learn, to reflect, to move your body, to plan your day, to build your dream, then those hours become your foundation. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Maybe you wake up and read 10 pages. Maybe you journal your thoughts. Maybe you go for a walk and think deeply. Maybe you work on a skill, or map out your goals, or check in with your habits. Whatever it is, make it matter. Make it yours. Build your own rhythm, one that prepares you to face the world with strength instead of stress. The truth is, success doesn't start in the spotlight. It starts in the quiet, early hours when no one's watching. It starts with self-respect, with commitment, with the decision to do what most people don't. You want to be uncommon? You want to break out of the average life? Then you have to act like your future deserves more than leftover energy. Give it your first energy, your best attention, your full presence. Waking up early teaches you more than just discipline. It teaches you to be proactive. It teaches you to get ahead. It gives you a sense of peace and direction before the chaos of the day begins. You're not racing against time. You're in command of it. And that feeling, that confidence, carries into everything you do. And yes, it will be hard at first. That alarm will go off, and your body will want to resist. Your mind will look for reasons to stay in bed. But that's the moment of decision. That's the moment that defines whether you stay stuck or step forward. Don't negotiate with laziness. Don't make it a debate. Make it automatic. Make it part of who you are. Think about this. How many mornings have you wasted because you just didn't feel like getting up? How many days started in a fog, with no direction, because you hit snooze and gave your time away? How many times have you told yourself you'll change, but chose sleep over progress? It's not about sleep itself. Sleep is important. Rest is necessary. But when rest turns into avoidance, when comfort becomes a pattern, when mornings become lost time, that's when the problem begins. It's not just what you do, it's when you do it. And early mornings give you a head start that nothing else can match. So change the way you think about it. Waking up early is not a punishment. It's an opportunity, an advantage, a power move. It's how you say to yourself, I'm taking this seriously now. It's how you separate yourself from the crowd. Because most people aren't willing to do it consistently, but you can. And once you do, you'll start to notice the difference. You'll feel more grounded. You'll feel more capable. You'll feel more in tune with what matters. Your days will have more flow. Your thoughts will have more order. Your energy will have more direction. That's not hype. That's what happens when you stop rushing and start owning your time. You want to get ahead? Stop waiting for things to change. Start changing how you show up every morning. Start giving your goals the attention they deserve. Start becoming the person who doesn't just talk about growth, but lives it every day. Starting before the world even wakes up. That's the mindset. That's the edge. That's what puts you in control of your future. One morning at a time, one decision at a time. Get up early and fight for it. Fight for the life you know you're capable of. Fight for the version of you that's been buried under excuses. Fight for the chance to feel proud when the day ends, not regretful. Because when you look back years from now, it won't be the extra hours of sleep you'll be proud of. It'll be the mornings you chose discipline. The mornings you showed up, the mornings you created something real. That's how you build a future worth living for. You wake up and you fight. Number 8. Quit blaming and start building a stronger you. That's the turning point. The moment where everything changes. As long as you're blaming something or someone, you're handing your power away. You're telling yourself that your life is in someone else's control. And the truth is, that mindset doesn't lead anywhere. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you small. It keeps you waiting for something outside of you to fix what's happening inside you. But if you want to grow, if you want to actually move forward, then you have to stop looking outward and start working inward. Blame is easy. It makes you feel protected. It lets you avoid responsibility. It allows you to point a finger instead of facing the mirror. And sure, maybe someone did treat you unfairly. Maybe things didn't go your way. Maybe your past wasn't what it should have been. But that's not the question anymore. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? Because the moment you stop blaming, you start building, you stop reacting, and you start creating. You stop talking about what's wrong, and you start asking what needs to change. That shift from victim to builder is what separates people who grow from people who stay behind. You don't get stronger by telling stories about how you were wronged. You get stronger by doing the work, even when it hurts. You get stronger by taking ownership of your attitude, your habits, your choices. You get stronger when you stop waiting for life to be fair and decide to make your life better, no matter what it throws at you. You can't build a better you while blaming the world for the one you are now. That kind of thinking keeps you passive. It keeps you defensive. It keeps you focused on what you can't change instead of what you can. And that's a trap. Because there's always something you can change. Always. Even if it's just the way you think, the way you respond, or the effort you give, that's enough to start shifting everything. Blame is an anchor. It keeps you tied to the past. The more you talk about what they did, what didn't work, how unfair it was, the less time you spend building something better. Blame steals your focus. It distracts you from the real work. It makes you feel right, but it never makes you better. You know what does? Ownership, discipline, personal accountability. Those aren't always comfortable words, but they're the ones that will change your life. The day you say, I'm responsible for what happens next, that's the day you take your power back. That's when the rebuilding begins. And it's not about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about looking at yourself every day and saying, where can I grow? What can I fix? What am I avoiding? That mindset turns pain into power. It turns setbacks into fuel. It turns you into someone who doesn't just survive life, but shapes it. Building a stronger you doesn't happen overnight. It happens in moments. Small daily decisions to do the right thing when it's hard, to keep going when you feel tired, to stay honest when it would be easier to make excuses, to choose action instead of complaining. That's how it's done. You've got to stop waiting for a perfect situation. Life doesn't give out perfect situations. It gives out opportunities wrapped in challenges. And you either rise to meet them or stay trapped, blaming them. The longer you blame, the longer you delay your growth. But once you start building, even a little, things start to shift. Your mindset sharpens. Your confidence returns. Your results begin to show up. And here's the truth. No one is coming to do it for you. No one's going to force you to improve. No one's going to wake you up and make you disciplined. That's on you. That's the hard part. And the best part. Because if it's on you, then you're not powerless anymore. You're in control. You've got to get to a point where excuses make you uncomfortable, where complaining feels like a waste of breath, where blaming others feels like you're giving away your freedom. That's when things get serious. That's when your life begins to take shape. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. You can repeat the story that's keeping you stuck, or you can write a new one, a story where you're not the victim, but the architect, where you're not defined by what's happened to you, but by what you've done with it. That choice is always there. You can't build strength in a life of comfort, and blaming is a form of comfort. It lets you feel right without doing anything. But that kind of comfort weakens you. It keeps your potential locked away. You don't need more reasons for why things didn't work out. You need more reasons to get up, get serious, and move forward. It starts with honesty. You can't build anything real without telling yourself the truth. Where are you wasting time? Where are you avoiding growth? Where are you blaming when you should be changing? Those answers aren't easy, but they're powerful. They give you direction. They give you a map out of the mess. And you don't have to have all the answers today. Just stop hiding behind blame and start doing one thing that builds you. Read something that sharpens your mind. Move your body. Cut a bad habit. Learn something new. Keep a promise to yourself. That's how you become strong, by doing what matters when no one's watching. You won't see results in one day, but you'll feel something shift. You'll feel pride again. You'll feel purpose. And the more you stay on that path, the more momentum you gain. That momentum becomes your lifestyle. That strength becomes your character. So stop blaming the past. It's already done. Stop blaming people who are no longer in your life. They don't get to control your story anymore. Stop blaming circumstances. You've got the ability to make new ones. And most of all, stop blaming yourself in a way that leads to shame. Own your mistakes, but use them to build, not break. You have the power to become someone new. Not someday, not when everything feels right. Now. In this moment, with what you've got, with where you are. That's enough to begin. Quit blaming and start building a stronger you, because no one else can do it. And once you commit, you'll never want to go back. Number 9, stop copying people who are going nowhere. That's one of the hardest truths to face, but it's also one of the most important if you want to grow. If you look around at the people you're following, the people you're mimicking, the people you're spending your time with, ask yourself, where are they headed? Are they disciplined? Are they building something? Are they consistent with their values? Are they moving forward in life or just drifting through it? Because if they're not growing and you're copying them, then where does that leave you? Most people don't make intentional choices. They do what's common, not what's correct. They follow trends, not principles. They look at what everyone else is doing and assume it's the right way because it feels accepted. But just because something is normal doesn't mean it's right. And just because someone looks successful doesn't mean they're living with purpose. You can copy someone's lifestyle and end up in a place you never wanted to be. That's the danger of following the wrong example. Real growth requires courage. The courage to do what most people aren't doing. The courage to say no when the group says yes. The courage to build your own path instead of copying someone else's shortcuts. That's not rebellion. That's intelligence. That's maturity. Because your life is your responsibility. And if you build it using someone else's blueprint, don't be surprised when it doesn't feel like your own. Take a close look at the people you're watching. Are they waking up with purpose? Do they challenge themselves daily? Do they take care of their health, their mind, their money, their time? Or are they just talking about it while doing nothing different? Don't follow people who complain every day but never improve. Don't follow people who chase attention instead of growth. Don't follow people who gave up on discipline and now tell you it doesn't matter. Because it does. The truth is, it's easy to follow. It's harder to think for yourself. But that's where your power lives. When you start questioning who you're learning from, you begin building your own standards. You stop living on default You stop trying to fit in with people who aren't even happy with where they are. If someone isn't working on themselves, they can't help you grow. If someone isn't sacrificing for their future, they have no business guiding yours. You don't need their approval. You don't need to mimic their routine. You need to get clear about where you're going and protect that with everything you've got. You can't build a focused life by copying people who have none. If someone spends their time escaping, avoiding responsibility, playing the victim, or settling for mediocrity, you have no reason to follow their lead. Respect them, but don't model your life after them, because life has consequences, and habits create outcome. And if their habits don't match the life you want, neither will yours. Most people copy without even realizing it. They fall into the same routines, talk the same way, make the same excuses, and call it normal. But you've got to wake up to it. You've got to ask yourself, who do I sound like when I speak? Who do I act like when I move? Who do I think like when I make decisions? And if the answer isn't someone you'd want to trade lives with, then something needs to change. Choosing your own path means choosing what most people won't. It means studying people who are disciplined, who are consistent, who have built a life of meaning, not just money, not just followers, but substance. Copy the work ethic, not the comfort. Copy the habits, not the image. Copy the mindset, not the shortcut. The people who are going nowhere often speak the loudest. They have opinions on everything, advice on topics they've never lived through, and confidence that comes from nowhere real. You don't need that kind of noise in your head. You need silence, clarity, focus. You need to block out the distractions, the drama, the talk that leads nowhere, and put that time into building your own mind, your own skills, your own results. This world rewards leaders, not followers. And leaders aren't born that way. They're made through effort, through thinking differently, through having the courage to break away from the crowd. That crowd might laugh, that crowd might criticize, but that same crowd will watch in silence when your results start to speak. So stop copying people who are drifting and become the person they start watching for answers. You've got one life, and every day you spend copying someone who isn't serious is a day you move further from becoming someone who is. Don't give away your potential, because it's easier to blend in. Don't trade your future for temporary comfort. Don't follow routines that lead nowhere just because they're familiar. You're not here to be average. You're not here to repeat patterns. You're not here to do what everyone else is doing and hope you feel different. That doesn't work. Change happens when you change your influences, when you upgrade your standards, when you say that's not for me anymore, and start showing up like someone who respects their own future. Look ahead, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Where will those people you're copying be? What kind of mindset will they have? What kind of health? What kind of freedom? What kind of legacy? And if that doesn't match what you want, stop copying them right now, today. Start building your own foundation. Set your own routines. Read things most people ignore. Practice habits most people skip. Speak with honesty when others pretend. Move with discipline when others procrastinate. Live with urgency when others waste time. That's how you build something real. That's how you separate from the cycle. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting more. You don't need approval to change your life. You need consistency. You need clarity. You need the courage to stand alone, if that's what it takes. And once you get that, you'll never want to go back. Because copying people who are going nowhere doesn't just slow you down. It makes you forget what you were even chasing. It clouds your vision. It dims your drive. But when you break from that, everything sharpens. You begin to see what matters. You begin to feel alive again. You start taking pride in the small things, the early morning work, the hard choices, the quiet progress. And before you know it, you're no longer watching others. You're leading yourself. You're making decisions based on principles, not popularity. You're walking with purpose, not just following trends. And the results start showing up. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Stronger mindset, better focus, real momentum. That's what happens when you stop copying and start creating. So protect your direction, protect your mind, protect your future from the influence of people who gave up on theirs. And keep building, keep learning, keep moving forward on your terms, not theirs, not the crowd's, yours. Number 10, choose growth today or stay stuck forever again. That's the reality most people try to avoid. They act like there's all the time in the world, like another chance will always show up. Like they can keep doing the same things and expect a different result. But life doesn't work that way. Nothing changes until you do. If you don't make the decision to grow today, you're silently choosing to stay exactly where you are. And that might not feel like a big deal in the moment. But over time, it's the reason people look back and regret years they can never get back. Growth doesn't wait. It's not patient. It's not going to knock on your door and beg you to say yes. It shows up when you decide you're done living on repeat. When you're tired of hearing your own excuses. When you're sick of your own patterns, that's when it begins. Not when life gets easier. Not when everything is in place. But the second you say, enough, I'm ready to change. And change doesn't feel good at first. It's uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar. It forces you to let go of the behaviors that made you feel safe, even if they were destroying your progress. But that's the trade. Comfort or growth. You can't have both. You can't stay inside your old habits and expect to become a better version of yourself. Growth demands a new level of discipline, a new level of honesty, a new level of action. Most people stay stuck, not because they don't want more, but because they never fully commit. They live in the middle, half in, half out. They say they want change, but their daily actions don't reflect that desire. They talk about goals, but their routines are built around comfort. That's not growth, that's delay. That's the trap of someday, and it's where dreams go to die. You don't rise by hoping, you rise by doing, and doing starts today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. You have to make that choice again and again, because life isn't going to slow down for you. It keeps moving. The opportunities that show up won't wait for you to get ready. They'll move on to someone who already is, someone who didn't wait for the perfect time to grow, someone who said, I'll figure it out as I go, but I'm not staying here. There's a danger in delaying your growth. The longer you stay in the same place, the more it becomes your identity. You start believing that where you are is all there is. You stop challenging yourself. You stop dreaming big. You start shrinking your goals to fit your habits instead of building your habits to match your goal. That's how people stay stuck forever. They slowly lose belief that change is even possible. But that belief isn't gone. It's just been buried under the weight of hesitation. And the only way to uncover it again is to act. Do the hard thing today. Take the first uncomfortable step. Start the habit you've been avoiding. Have the conversation you've been putting off. Cut the excuse. Pick up the routine that scares you. That's where your power lives. In the decision to move forward, no matter what. You don't have to know how everything will work out. You just have to know that staying stuck is no longer an option. You've tried that already. You know what it feels like. The frustration, the guilt, the silent pressure that builds when you know you could be doing more, but aren't. That doesn't go away with more rest or more distraction. It only goes away with growth, with effort, with change. And you don't have to make a huge leap. You just have to stop standing still. Small steps done daily are more powerful than big intentions that never happen. The problem is most people want change to feel exciting, but real change is quiet. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's consistent. It's showing up when no one's watching. It's sticking with it when it gets boring. It's choosing progress over pride. Growth is not about perfection. It's about direction. Are you getting better? Or are you staying the same? Are you pushing yourself? Or making excuses? Are you being honest? Or hiding behind distraction? That's how you measure it. Not by how much you've done, but by how much closer you are to becoming who you were meant to be. Every day you delay growth. You give time to your fear. You strengthen your doubts. You build a life that looks busy but feels empty. That's not how you want to live. You want to wake up knowing you're doing the hard work, that you're earning your confidence, that you're moving towards something that matters. And you know what happens when you grow? Everything changes. Your standards rise. Your energy shifts. You stop tolerating things that drain you. You start protecting your time. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're focused on your own progress. That's what growth gives you. Clarity, power, direction. Not just in one area of life, but in all of them. But none of that starts unless you do, unless you make the decision right now to stop waiting. To stop circling the same issues, to stop telling yourself, I'll do it later. Because if not now, if not today, what's going to be different tomorrow? Nothing changes if nothing changes. You have more control than you think, more time than you admit, more ability than you've shown. But you'll never see it if you keep choosing the same behaviors that have kept you stuck. You've outgrown those patterns. You've outgrown that mindset. And it's time your actions reflect that. You won't always feel ready. That's fine. Do it anyway. You won't always see instant progress. That's normal. Stay consistent. You won't always get support. That's expected. Rely on your own discipline. Because this path is yours, not theirs, not anyone else's, yours. So choose growth. Today, right now, this moment. Don't look back. Don't look around. Just decide, and then act. That's how you move. That's how you break the cycle. That's how you change your story. Not with a wish, but with a decision. Choose growth today, or stay stuck forever again. The choice is yours. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. The price of average is too high. It costs you time. It costs you energy. And worst of all, it costs you the life you were meant to live. You weren't born to stay stuck. You weren't built to blend in. And you don't get another shot at this. So starting today, raise your standards. Stop settling. Stop waiting. Stop doing what everyone else is doing. Because most people don't make it. Not because they can't, but because they never chose to rise above average. Don't let that be your story. Now ask yourself one question. What's one thing you're going to change today? If this message hit you, don't just move on. Come back to this video, rewatch it when you feel yourself slipping. And if you're serious about growth, we're just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.